a short video just after seeing some of the material that's gone out on the mainstream media about Trump's arrival at The Hague at the NATO conference, and he was booed. And as far as I can see, he was booed by about 22 people. He was booed by about 22 people. You'd have more at an Irish protest against some particular tidy town infrastructure or something like that. But anyway, he was booed. What does that mean? It means nothing. Europe wants America to do its bidding. Europe is a left-wing communist state with no democracy. It's already killed democracy in France and in Romania. Trump is democratically elected genuinely when he made sure they couldn't rig it again. Like it or not. I don't believe Russia's going to do anything more than take over Ukraine, take its assets, and the quicker it does it, the better. And that's going to end the war. There was no need for the war. They started the war. So Trump's popularity here and there is of very little relevance. Certainly, there are people, and I'm among them, who believes he should be a bit more lean towards helping Gaza a bit, and maybe he will. And I don't altogether agree with him on that. But you're not going to get a full agreement. Iran cannot be allowed to have nuclear weapons, but it can't be used as an excuse for perpetual wars. So not everything is perfect. On the Ukraine, what's annoying the EU is they love Zelensky, who is a useless rascal who has done untold damage and been the cause of the deaths of 1 million people, with the help of Boris Johnson, Victoria Nuland, and the neocons, as they call them, right? Starmer is going around doing his nut like a clown over Russia. Well, you're not going to beat Russia because Russia and China and India ignored your global warming scam. They don't rely on nuclear weapon, renewable energy, and they have strong armies. And what you think in Europe doesn't matter. What the various videos on here condemning Trump and trying to laugh at Trump are trying to do is they can't accept that he won, and they can't accept that he has a way of doing things which may be different. But he is definitely a peacemaker. They're making laughs about him nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. I think that's a bit premature. And then they say Obama got a good one. Obama got a Peace Prize. He killed Gaddafi because Gaddafi was bringing in his own currency. That's why he killed him. He worked on the Afghan war that ended in failure. Any president that brings America into war nowadays is drumming up failure. Look at all the soldiers, 54,000 killed. That's not to talk about wounded in the Vietnam War. That's a plaque in New York. And look at the wars since. Mayhem in Libya. Things is not so good in Iraq either. And then they come along and they talk about, one commentator makes the point that America invaded Iraq and there were no nuclear weapons, and therefore Trump is to blame. Trump wasn't in politics at all in 2003 when America invaded Iraq. It wasn't in politics at all. And unlike Iran, there was a certain amount of cooperation between Saddam Hussein and the officials monitoring it. But America didn't want to know. And when the Twin Towers got hit, that was used as an excuse for attacking Iran. That was then, and times were a bit different, and I'm not making a big deal out of any of that. But what have we learned? They've lost again in Afghanistan, and they want Trump now to go in and wallop Russia. Well, Trump cannot wallop Russia. And the reason the left want Trump to wallop Russia is they want him to lose and belittle him. They're not Democrats. And now we have in the Middle East, He is, after whatever he did and whatever these big bombs did, he is trying to get a peace agreement again. But they cannot accept that. Folks, we have to be fair. No, he's not perfect, and no government is perfect. But this is what's on, and I'm making this video in particular to post it underneath some of the left-wing communist videos that's on there trying to make a laugh of Trump. Trump is doing all right. America's never going to win a war again. America's no longer a full superpower. That's the way it's been turned out. That's what the Biden administration did by stopping industry with their renewable energy crap and their World Economic Forum climate change hysteria. That's not Trump's fault. He handled that as best he could. And he's gone back to the old ways of doing things which were proven to work. But even when America was a powerhouse of industry, it still couldn't win the Vietnam War. It only sort of won the Iraq War. And Obama announced he was pulling his troops out of Iraq 6 months before he did it, telling the enemy. So the media and a lot of the lefties want Trump to tell them exactly what his plans are. And if you tell your enemy your plans, well, they're going to adopt to that and beat you. The whole idea of war and strategy is you don't tell your enemy, you tell something else. So it's quite possible Trump's announcement about Gaza and the Palestinians could be to throw somebody off, to throw them off. And he did criticise Netanyahu there over recently. So he's making it clear he's nobody's puppet. He'll do what he thinks is right. And then they're criticising him for talking to Putin. Why shouldn't he talk to Putin? In 5 years' time, Putin will be a more important man, or than his successor, than the American leadership, because he does things to win and to work and to get it done. That's the reality. That's what your left-wing communism has brought about. Good luck. Comment underneath. Folks, I have a terrible problem with your commenting. Illogical. I mean, just buy the local newspaper and see the way they write a sentence. Please do that. Don't be writing stupid words.